All right, let's dive into one of the most incredible allegories in all of Scripture, the allegory of the olive tree from the book of Jacob. We're about to join the Lord of the Vineyard on a journey, a kind of inspection tour, to see what happened to his people after they were scattered. And what we find reveals so much about struggle, success, and divine love. So let's get into it.
So, right here in Jacob chapter 5, the Lord of the Vineyard says, "Come on, let's go check things out." He's talking to his servant, but, he's really inviting us to come along for the ride too. These branches aren't just any old branches. They represent his people, planted in the farthest flung corners of the world.
Our first stop on this journey is a pretty tough spot, a land where the Lord planted the first group of exiles. And what they find here, well, it sets a fascinating and totally unexpected tone for everything that follows. It kind of turns our assumptions about what it takes to grow completely upside down. And bam, right away, something remarkable happens. Even though it's been planted way out here, this first branch is actually thriving. It has produced much fruit, and even more importantly, the scripture says that fruit is good. That's a huge success story right out of the gate.
You gotta love the servant's reaction here. He is just completely floored. He looks around and says this is the poorest spot in the entire vineyard. He's basically asking, how in the world did anything good grow here? To him, it just doesn't make any logical sense.
But the Lord's response, man, it's so powerful. He basically says, look, I knew exactly what I was doing. He totally acknowledges how difficult the location was, but then he reveals the secret ingredient, his personal, long-term nourishment. The challenge of the soil didn't matter as much as the care of the master. Okay, so who are we talking about here? This first branch represents the righteous folks from Israel who were taken captive to places like Babylon and Egypt. Imagine being surrounded by a foreign and often pretty hostile culture that was constantly pushing back against your faith.
And this is such a brilliant way to think about what that poor spot really means. It's not about bad dirt, right? It was about this intense cultural and spiritual pressure. This hardship, this adversity, seems to have forced them to rely more on the Lord. And with his divine help, they didn't just get by, they actually flourished spiritually. So, if you thought that first spot was tough, you won't believe where we're going next. The next locations are described as being even more challenging, which just makes the outcome all the more incredible. So the Lord points out a second branch, and you see the pattern here, right? He says the ground is even poorer than the last one. But what's the result? The same thing, lots of good fruit, all because the master was taking care of it. Clearly, the quality of the ground isn't the most important factor here. And then, yep, there's a third branch. The scripture doesn't even bother to say how bad the ground is this time, but the message is crystal clear. The Lord planted it, he nourished it, and guess what? It also bore good fruit. The master's hand is the one constant, the one variable that truly matters, no matter the location. All right, so who are these other branches? Well, a lot of scholars think that the second branch, the one in the even poorer ground, represents the 10 lost tribes who were scattered into Assyria, a place known for trying to erase their culture. And the third one? That's likely the Mulekites, another group that came over to the Americas. Both faced just immense challenges, yet both, with the Lord's help, produced good fruit. Okay, now for our last stop on this little tour. And this one's a total game changer. Because here, the Lord didn't pick a poor spot. No, he picked the very best spot. And this is where the story takes a really fascinating and kind of cautionary turn. And here it is, the great paradox of the journey. This branch, which we understand to be Lehi's family in the Americas, was planted in a good spot of ground, a literal promised land. But even with the best conditions and the Lord's care, the results were, well, they were mixed. The story pivots here from overcoming external problems to navigating internal choices. Think about that. From the exact same branch, you get two totally different outcomes. You've got the Nephites, that's the tame fruit, representing those who are faithful, and then you have the Lamanites, the wild fruit, representing those who turned away. It's such a powerful lesson that even the best environment doesn't guarantee righteousness. Sometimes prosperity can be an even tougher test than adversity. So when the Lord sees this wild fruit, he considers just getting rid of it. But the servant, who might represent the prophets or even Christ himself, steps in and pleads for mercy. He says, wait, let's give it another chance. Let's work on it a little longer. And that moment, that plea for mercy really zooms us out to see the main point of this whole thing.
It's not just about one or two successful branches, it's about the master's vision for his entire vineyard.
And honestly, this is the part that hits home. After seeing everything, the good, the bad, the struggling, what do? They get to work. They don't give up on anyone. They nourish all the fruit of the vineyard. It just goes to show God's love and his efforts reach every single one of us, no matter where we are or what our condition is.
So that brings it all back to us, doesn't it? It leaves us with a pretty profound question. Are we in a poor spot right now, facing challenges? Or are we in a good spot with lots of opportunities? Because what this whole story teaches us is that no matter what, the Lord's nourishment is always there. The real question is, what are we doing with it? How are we choosing to use that divine help to bear good fruit right where we're planted?